All right, what up, people? It's Thursday, October the 3rd. Checking the date. We're at the Fantasy NFL Today show. We are live. We got Jason Baum, Brian Shade. We're also working on a new name, so if you can think of anything, because all Brian had was 3 low-end flex plays for me, so wasn't the maximum helpful, but we're getting there. We're working on it. We're workshopping names. But so we got Jason. Who's going to do the injury roundup. Brian, we're going to play with the supermodel. Fire off any questions you get. We're on YouTube. Check us out. We're also live, I think, streaming on Twitter. And we're just going to break down everything week 5. So, Jason, like we do every week, the angel of death, you're in your dark lit room right now. Break it down for me.
Yeah, no, perfect lighting, right, for this. So definitely a few more injuries to report on throughout the week and things that have gone on. Some things that have actually broken in the last few minutes. One of them, or I guess in the last hour, I should say, one of them being Rashee Rice. That was one of the biggest injury news of the weekend. Obviously got dinged up or got hurt when Patrick Mahomes dove into him by accident, trying to tackle a ball carrier on an interception. The Chiefs initially had feared it was a torn ACL. At this point, there's still no conclusion. So he's going to be undergoing more tests next week. And he's been placed on short-term injured reserve, so he'll be out for at least the next 4 games.
So what are we thinking there? Hollywood's out, right? So it's like Justin Watson, Juju Smith-Schuster. Are we? Brian, Jay, you can jump in. Are either of these guys worth a stream, a flyer, a lottery ticket?
I mean, if you're desperate at tight end, I kind of like Noah Gray. I feel like that work's going to get split between Kelsey, Gray, Smith-Schuster, and Watson. Everyone thinks it's going to be the rookie. I just feel like he has his role of just kind of deep shots. He might get a few more manufactured touches, but I think it's just going to be split between like 4 people. Mahomes likes to spread it, in my opinion.
Okay, yeah, I always call him a communist. Yeah, Jason?
I was going to agree with that. I mean, at this point, Worthy is either to be shown to get the touches out of the backfield or behind the line of scrimmage, or the deep pop play that you saw, the 54-yard touchdown the other day against the Chargers. At this point, I actually like Noah Gray myself. I don't really trust any of the other Chiefs pass catchers at this point. I mean, Juju, he pops off once in a million years at this point of his career. And, he'll go off, he'll have a great game the next game, and it'll be, why did I ever put this guy in my lineup? It's just a really nightmare situation fantasy-wise. It's actually a nightmare situation for the Chiefs at this point in general. They desperately need a receiver. If I'm the Raiders and Devontae Adams is apparently on the block right now. If I'm the Raiders, why would you trade him to a rival?
Right.
Whatever your asking price is, I would double it if I'm the Raiders and make the Chiefs really go all in for him and give everything they have. A more realistic option for the Chiefs could be down the road if the Titans continue to sputter is DeAndre Hopkins. That would be a match made in heaven for everyone involved. Chiefs.
I like that. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah, the interdivision trades. All right, how often do we even see those?
Very rarely.
Anthony says, Jason, turn on the light.
Well, it is on.
It's fine. Don't worry. It's cool. Okay, what else we got? We got Taysom Hill. We got fractured ribs after scoring.
Yeah, there's some fractures in Taysom Hill's rib. And the Chiefs or the Saints, my apologies, are considering short-term IR for him. We don't know. I mean, the thing is, we're riding the Taysom Hill fantasy cycle again. The one where he has a big game, everybody gets excited, everybody picks him up, then he either does nothing or gets injured, sleep, repeat. I told anybody I knew this weekend, don't pick him up. But that was even before he got injured. The Chiefs or the Saints tight end situation. Sorry, I keep saying Chiefs because the Saints are actually playing the Chiefs this week. I would assume that he is going to skip the Monday night game, but there's no confirmation yet. So after that, you have Juwan Johnson and Foster Moreau as the 2 starting tight ends. Obviously, Taysom does a little bit more than just catch passes at the tight end position. He lines up as an H-back, can carry the ball, can give you short yardage, can line up as a quarterback and chuck it around too. So the Saints lose that Swiss Army knife, and that's already going to be tough because the one thing about the Chiefs is that defense is really good. And they're really good at home.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, yeah, but realistically, none of these guys are really worth talking about. let's go to a big one. We got Christian Watson. I think what is it, high ankle sprain?
Yeah, that's correct. He's going to definitely be out at least this week. It's definitely a tough loss for the Packers, but with Jordan Love back, Jaden Reed is clearly his guy. So that doesn't affect him too bad in his stock. But there's a couple other guys that'll step up and be just fine too. Dontavian Wicks and Romeo Dobbs will probably see more love. And don't be afraid to pick either of those two up either.
Right. Wicks had like 14 carries, or 14 targets last week, or something crazy.
Yeah, a ton, especially once that game got out of hand and the Packers had to start just chucking it around just to maybe stay relevant in it. Yeah, Wicks got a ton of touches, and he can pop a big one too. He's not like a guy who's going to catch a one or two. He's a guy who can break a 40 to 50-yard touchdown at times too. So he's not just a touchdown dependent and target dependent guy. He can pop that big play and really make a week for him.
So you think Wicks steps up over Dobbs, and then also the Luke Musgrave, right? He got a lot of targets. I always confuse Musgrave and Tucker Kraft. I don't remember which one's good.
Well, at this point, Musgrave was supposed to be the guy coming in, but the route share, I forget the exact stat. Tucker Kraft was actually getting more of the route share and running more of the route, so he's been kind of tabbed for a while now from what I've been reading, and he's actually been going on a lot of waiver wires. I tried to slide a sneaky waiver wire pickup on him earlier this week, and a guy in my league paid $17 in fab for it.
Okay.
Thanks for listening. I saw
that. Okay, let's keep going. What else we got? Let's go. I saw Khalil Shakir. I don't think he's been practicing.
No, Khalil Shakir is just dealing with general soreness at this point. My assumption is he will play over the weekend against the Texans. In case he can't. One of my favorite receivers coming out of the draft this year is Keon Coleman, and I would think it'd be, really kind of time for him. You think Dawson Knox would finally get in the mix a little bit too as a pass catcher as well to help Josh Allen out. But, in terms of general soreness, I think Shakir is probably going to go. He's been, a very mid to high end wide receiver too right now. He's Josh Allen's guy clearly. And, he pops a couple to him, at least a couple times a game. So.
Yeah, that Ravens game was an aberration. Okay, a couple more. So Neighbors concussion. I don't think that's looking good. So Wan'Dale Robinson, where is he? Wide receiver 3, 2 if Neighbors can't go?
Low end 2, receiver and flex. Again, it's really more about the quarterback than anything. And, Dimes had a good game last week. Got to give it to him. He had a mostly decent game last week. By the way, shout out my prop hitting on the very final play. That over 0.5 interceptions. It took 3 3/4 quarters, but we got it done.
That was nuts, yeah.
Yeah. So Robinson's a low end receiver 2 flex at this point, I would say.
Okay. Let's go. 30 seconds. Elevated. Anything else we should hit? Injuries.
Brian Robinson not practicing today with his knee. Definitely something to monitor. A lot of people already have Austin Eckler, but Jeremy McNichols, 2 touchdowns last week in Arizona, playing against Cleveland, who is pretty good against the run. So, buyer beware here. And with Eckler back, Eckler will probably, Eckler's back in practice right now, and he'll likely clear concussion protocol. So Eckler will probably handle all the RB1 touches. But, McNichols isn't a bad, stash, just in case.
Mm-hmm. And then Brian, you said Singletary. I think he said he had a chance to play. But we're probably going to see. What's it, Tyrone Tracy Jr.?
Yep.
Is he good?
We'll find out.
Thanks, Brian.
He was a guy coming very late in drafts earlier this year. And, I've taken a flyer on him at times. Or I've taken a flyer on him in a couple of drafts, and just holding on to him just in case. Because Singletary does get banged up. And he's not really entirely a guy who can last that whole season. So, yeah, why not?
Yeah, I mean, I like him as an upside stash. I'd probably rather him than McNichols because, McNichols scored twice last week. But, Singletary is a serviceable running back, and he's been getting a bunch of volume. If he's out or limited, they're kind of forced to put Tracy into this role. And when young players are put into a role, there's a 10-15% chance he just sparks. But, that Giants team isn't going many places, so they have every opportunity to just give some of the younger guys him. There's the tight end Theo Johnson. I expect to kind of gradually get more play as well. But there's no reason not to try it out, especially if Singletary's limited.
Okay. And then, last one, then we're going to get to some questions. Anthony Richardson, I think he practiced today. He's got an oblique injury. But if you're a Michael Pittman owner, you want Joe Flacco in there, right? Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, I'm saying even as a Josh Downs owner, I kind of want Joe Flacco in there. But I would hope, just from the human side at least, the Chiefs or the Colts don't force this with him and really try to have him aggravate stuff. The kid has such a bright young future. I just don't want to see them, force something, especially, as they do have competent backup play in Flacco, and there's no effect on Anthony Richardson's future. Flacco comes in and plays well for a few weeks. Let him get here, let him heal up. But in terms of fantasy perspective, I don't know. I think he targets Pittman a bunch anyway, and plus Jonathan Taylor's hurt too with his ankle.
That's true, yeah.
So, and the Chiefs oh my God, it's going to be one of those days, isn't it? The Colts field options behind Jonathan Taylor are not good.
Trey Sermon?
No thanks.
Okay. Brian, what did you pull up your model? What do you have for the Colts game? Do you have it just do you have two scenarios with Richardson and Flacco?
I mean, I have Richardson playing. I'm not sure yet. I mean, he was limited. People are limited. I mean, I do this Wednesday. If people are limited Wednesday, I try to at least assume they're going to play. I decreased a lot of Taylor's share. Like you can see kind of on the bottom, and has a 40% rush share, which normally when he plays, he's around 60-ish, considering Anthony Richardson's like 25%. So it's majority of the touches for running backs. I mean, I have him in a league. I picked up Geno Smith to start over him. Even if he's healthy, I'm going to put Geno Smith in. It's difficult to trust him. And if it's his oblique, he's not going to want to run. He's not going to want to get hit. And that's kind of what he's good for. So I'm trying to avoid him if he plays. I think it'd be smart, kind of like Jason said, just play Joe Flacco. Watch the elite quarterback play of Mr. Joe Flacco. And
what's the world come to? Okay, that's it. So Anthony, we'll talk about some Adams in a bit. We'll talk some trades. We got J-Tube. What up? Bucky or A-Chain? This is where I live. This is great. All right. Also, my receivers, put this on the board. My receivers are Marvin Anderson Jr., Debo, Pickens, Worthy, Wandale, and Reed. Jesus, that's some stacked wide receivers. My tight ends are McBride and Bowers. I need a QB and possibly a top-tier wide receiver. Who should I target? Okay, let's start. Jason, Bucky or A-Chain? We got Bucky playing tonight against the Falcons, who in his ascension is just like this, right?
Yeah, it's been pretty crazy, and it sucks for me as a Rachaad White owner who has because he's ascending towards that 50-50 timeshare. He got pretty much all the goal line touches last week too. But at this point, I'm still going A-Chan until I see that Raheem Mostert fully healthy. Jalen Wright cut into some of A-Chan's touches, but they're going to need at this point, the Dolphins just need all the backfield to rely on, because with two out, the passing game has just been terrible.
Yeah. Someone who had Tyreek Hill yards over and watched every second of that game, I punched a few lamps. Brian, you're the big A-Chain guy. I think you have him first overall in a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, that was when Tua was still there. I mean, I think I couldn't start Bucky over A-Chain. Obviously he's showing some promise. I still think Rachaad White is kind of the third down guy and is the guy that will be getting a lot more of the passing work. Yeah, Bucky looks better in the running game, but it looks great and it's cool that it's a young guy getting a bunch, but it's not like the most attractive situation for Bucky, in my opinion, if Rachaad White's still going to get majority of the pass catching role. So A-Chain's, they just need their QB to get A-Chain, Tyreek, and Jalen Waddle the ball and hope for the best. And I just think they're going to keep trying to do that. Okay. Even if it's a bunch of catches for 0 yards, it's still I think worth A-Chain over. And then in regards to this, with all of his wide receivers, I would not trade for Mahomes. I would steer
Yeah.
very clear of Mahomes.
Let me read the question first. So it's a two-parter. He goes, someone in my league has Mahomes, Allen, and Burrow. Let's assume it's one QB league. He's stacking QBs, right? So who are we targeting? So Mahomes is out, right? Nobody wants Mahomes. They got no receivers. So Allen and Burrow, right? Allen's going to cost you a fortune. Burrow may be a discount. What's the draft capital-wise? What do you think, Brian?
I mean, because he gave all of his receivers, I'd definitely be willing to kind of give up. I mean, Reed is actually my wide receiver 1 this week overall.
Yeah.
Jaden Reed.
Can't trade Reed. Reed is untouchable.
Yeah, he's.
Yeah, I mean, I also just kind of think he's hot right now, and I think it's a good matchup combined with Jordan Love's back and there's an injury. I don't think he's going to kind of stay in that top 12. I could be wrong, but like this is kind of like everything good happened for him in 1 week. So yeah, maybe he goes off this week and then you sell high then, but he's a low sell high candidate for me.
Okay.
Especially if it's a onesie league or one QB, one tight end, I would try to trade one of your tight ends for a QB. I just think that's easier transition, so you can keep your deep wide receiver room depending on what happens. And you only start one tight end, even if it's two QBs. I try to get rid of one of the tight ends.
Yeah, I was thinking maybe you do Debo for Burrow, and then maybe you add McBride or Bowers if you want to try and move up and get Allen, right?
I'm with Brian here, and I'll actually take the shot on the tight end really quick because I know we've talked about this for weeks now, but look how bad the tight end position is in fantasy football. Like, that's a really hot commodity, especially just even having one. If you have two that are capable, I mean, that's a nice trade chip alone.
Yep. Yeah, I agree. Yeah. So I think he's got such great wide receivers. Yeah, I'd say you go for Allen, right? Swing for the fence. If you had Chase, may make more sense. Get Burrow with the stack, but I would, yeah, I'd swing for Allen. And then once Puka gets back, you're rolling over people.
I would agree with that.
Okay, we can hit back to Anthony. We're talking trade targets. Trading in the NFL is always tough because nobody really knows about the dead cap, and it's really hard to speculate. But I love the DeAndre Hopkins is great, right?
Yeah.
Really, you just try older wide receivers on underperforming teams, right? That's kind of the sweet spot. Brian, anyone off the top of your head?
I've heard something about DK Metcalf potentially has been on the block for a while.
Okay,
because I think he wasn't the most happy with QB in the whole situation. I think that team's kind of in the middle ground. Obviously, Geno's been playing well recently. Maybe that those requests have gone. I think at the end of last year, there was some talk, and I remember around the draft, there's also some talk, whether it's money-based or whatever. That's kind of a out of nowhere pick of if you really imagine DK with Patrick Mahomes, that would be quite fun to watch.
Yeah, I mean, sure, I guess. Yeah. Okay, Jason?
Other than that, yeah, it's kind of your older receivers looking to kind of move on or just on the crappy teams. Adam Thielen, that kind of player.
He's on the IR, but that would, yeah, okay.
Yeah, it's only short term with him. Yeah, at this point, I'm looking at teams. I'm thinking about teams, at least in my brain, that aren't entirely contending for
bring Tyreek home.
I mean, hey, it's possible. There's definitely that. It seems like he's at least a little bit, disgruntled after what's going on. But clearly, him moving on to that better situation really worked out. The other one I was thinking of, I'm looking at the Jaguars. I mean, Christian Kirk is year 3 of a 4-year deal. If the Jaguars are maybe looking to move on from him and feature Brian Thomas more, that could also be a really nice play for the Chiefs.
I like that. Yeah. Amari Cooper is probably another good one, right? Browns might be.
I mean, there's no, and again, I just want to make sure that I'm clear here. There's no merit to anything. I'm not just, I'm not saying I heard a rumor or anything like that. I'm just thinking of teams that are, kind of down bad right now and could stand to move on from somebody. And
so like Philly, AJ Brown.
Yeah, right.
Okay, we got another question here. We got Armando Zapita Jr. What up, my man? Someone offered me Brock Bowers for Chris Olave. Okay, I got CeeDee Lamb, Chris Godwin, Olave, Higgins, and Deontay Johnson. Stacked wide receiver room. Should I counter with Higgins or Johnson. He has Kelsey starting. So he's got the extra tight end. And what are we thinking here, Jace?
I actually would, just get rid of. I would actually really consider just doing that. Why would Deontay Johnson at this point is starting to look like 2021 Deontay Johnson again
with touchdowns?
Yeah, he's getting touchdowns. He's getting targets. He's getting receptions. He's getting yards. People, said earlier this year that this is a guy you may want to be able to swipe late, and for the last couple of weeks, ever since the Panthers made the quarterback change, ever since he's been balling and putting up wide receiver 1 numbers, and he's in my lineup every week.
Okay. Brian, what do you got? How do you rank these wide receivers? Olave, Deontay, Higgins.
That's tough. I mean, Olave should be the number 1, but they've been given a lot of the big plays have obviously been going Rashid Shaheed's way. I think Higgins is kind of going to come on more. I really like that offense to kind of pick it up. They're kind of desperate at the moment at what they're 1-3. I think you're selling high on Johnson. He's probably my lowest. I'd go Higgins, Olave, then Johnson. I hear you that he's been doing better, and I just don't want to be watching or paying attention to any of the Panthers games. I don't think they're that good. So that's maybe it's poor of me to feel that way, but that's how I view it. And yeah, in regards to countering, always counter. Worst case, you have to go back and admit, all right, fine, I'll take this anyway. But okay, they say no. If this person's going to say no and then not accept the offer they just gave, then all right, it is what it is, in my opinion. But most people don't act like that, and you can slowly get kind of minor gains as you go if people accept. Worst case, I mean, you're wasting 2 minutes of the guy's time. If he says no, then you just counter back. I will majority of the time counter unless I think it's a steal, and I don't want them to just delete the trade.
Yeah, that's the worst. Okay, so you're saying counter with Johnson, but Jason, you're saying you love Johnson based on what he's done with Andy Dalton, right?
Especially with Andy Dalton, throwing him the ball at this point, he's been really good. But also, one guy to beware of is Xavier Legette. He finally got some love this past week, and got I think over 10 targets and had a pretty big fantasy day. So also, if you are willing to part ways with Deontay Johnson, Xavier Legette is probably on the waiver wire somewhere, and you could probably stack him.
Yeah. Okay. That's true. Okay. Cool. Let's talk tonight. Thursday night. We got Saints Falcons in Atlanta. Falcons favored by 2. Brian, model me up here. What anything jumps out at you? Right. We got Bijan, who's had I think 59 yards combined the last 2 games. Right.
Yeah, he was a little banged up from what I heard. Obviously, I mean, he's playing this game, so that kind of made me track back some of his touches a little more. I like Algiers' numbers a lot in this one, just because compared to previously. I think he's a low-end flex play. I'm debating starting him in one of my leagues as a low-end flex because I have Saquon on a bye. So I think he's kind of a solid, maybe I can pick this guy up and get a fill-in of 8 to 10 points, which, especially if you're on bye and you don't have all your bench plays or upside plays with no real work now, I think he's solid. He'll get some work.
Yeah, you carried Bijan, I think 8 to 7 last week. Tampa's usually stout versus run D, but I did the preview, so I think they're 22nd in the league. So it's, especially if Bijan's banged up, short week, they're not going to give him 20 carries, right? Maybe they go 12-12. Maybe Algier finds the end zone. Yeah. Jason, you got some good bets for me, right? I'll get to you.
Once again, my guys came through for you all last week.
Yeah, you're undefeated.
Chop and Marty, good job, boys. Chop is the one bringing me the props this week. So his plays for this week that I'm going to take credit for here. Bijan Robinson over 26.5 receiving yards.
I bet that.
8. And Bucky Irving, anytime touchdown scorer, plus 180.
Okay, wow, 180. I like that. Brian, do you like those?
I do like the 180. I with my bets tended to zag against the whole Bucky Irving's taking over everything. So
no way.
mine are I like Rashad White over 3.5 receptions. I just think he's still kind of the pass catching back in that. Baker doesn't mind dropping it off. He's kind of smart about that. And then also over 19.5 receiving yards combined. If you want to do that, plus 158, separated out, it's plus 140 for the over receptions and minus 110 for the reception yards. So
Okay, not bad. What and then total? What do you got for the? Got any leans? Like, what's your model? I think what was the total? 44.5, something like that.
From Wednesday it was just 44. It might have gone up a point.
Okay.
Atlanta's favored. I tend to just like the Bucks money line. Maybe that's just because they spanked my team last week, so I'm a bit scarred from that. But with Bijan a little banged up, still playing the way that Baker's been throwing the ball, I just think he has a lot of weapons that he is doing well with. So I like the Tampa team in this one.
Okay, yeah, 2 injuries we didn't cover, Jason. Jalen McMillan and Trey Palmer are out, right? So, well, who steps up? Is Sterling Shepard resurgence? Are we thinking maybe Kate Otten when it comes to wide receiver 3 from the tight end?
Yeah, probably going to be a Kate Otten game. Seems like it's his time for that. And yeah, in terms of the spread as well, I do like the Bucks myself. Kirk Cousins, I think, is 1-11 in his last 12 games indoors ATS.
Wow, put that on the feed.
Yeah, crazy. Also, even though this is our show, are we allowed to ask questions? Because I have a question.
yeah, all
right. Flex question here for my own personal sanity. Rashad White or Rome Odunze this weekend? Rome's got a very nice matchup against the Panthers, which I love. And, it's been hard to trust Rashad right now.
I'd go full Rome. I mean, I'm just so matchup based. Allen's still ramping up. DJ Moore's kind of, pissed off. Odunze had that monster week 3 game, and then last week they didn't really do anything.
I mean, Keenan's back now, which I don't think helps kind of the Rome taking over massive target share because now you have Keenan, DJ, and Rome. Cole Kmet's also been getting way more involved. In the beginning of the season, there's a lot of Gerald Everett and Cole Kmet. Now it's pretty much like very clear. Cole Kmet's 1, Gerald Everett's 2. Yeah. Even DeAndre Swift was super involved in the passing game. I just don't think Caleb has a favorite receiver. So Rome's higher ceiling, lower floor. So if you're projected to lose, I would go Rome. If you're projected to win, you want the safe points, I would go White.
Yeah, assuming PPR, right?
Yeah.
Right, you get the White. If he gets 4 grabs, 40 yards, 8 points, Dunze probably have to score to get that.
Yeah.
It's tough. I like getting action on Thursday, but my rule is do not bank on running backs in Thursday games. They never ever go over.
Already got crushed by that 2 weeks ago with Andre Stevenson. Thank you. Appreciate it. I'm a little bit foolish on playing Rashad White tonight for that.
I'm curious. Like my rankings have it Bijan, then Algier, then White Irving. My guess is you guys probably wouldn't agree with Algier over White and Irving.
I actually do at this point because Algier has put together some really good games, and there's just so much volatility with the Bucs right now in the backfield. Like Irving, really just kind of forced his way onto the field and has made it impossible for them to keep him off of it. So I would say that's more than fair.
Yeah.
I'm all in on the Bucky train. I know he's dealing with some hamstring issues, but last week, because they crushed the Eagles so hard, I think that's why the carries got split 10-10. But White
was sick.
Huh?
Rashad White was also dealing with food poisoning. He was late added to the injury report.
Yeah. But I think he got a lot of the carries late, and I think it kind of skewed what they actually wanted to be, right? I think Bucky's gonna. I don't know. I bet his yard's over. I think he's gonna run wild. He's got a great name. He's got bursts. He explodes off the the TV screen. I'm excited, but Thursday night running backs, be wary. We got another question we're gonna jump to, but let's just stick with this game for one more second, Bryce. So who's on like the fence for fantasy players like Darnell Mooney, right? Are we playing him 3 wide receiver league? Let's say 14 team.
I mean, yeah, if you're a deeper league, I think he's a solid play. He's the 2 in that. Ray-Ray McCloud has also been getting a lot more work. I think he's maybe comes in as their slot guy in 11 personnel. I mean, there's a lot of like maybe starts because, like, all right, taking out the QBs, I have 13 people here that like could have flex appeal if you're really desperate. And especially considering we have 4 teams out, like there's a lot of people you could potentially play. Tight ends, I think, are both kind of borderline tight end, like borderline startable anywhere from like tight end 10 to tight end 15. They're not the worst picks. They're not the best. Obviously, Pitts always has potential, but at some point you have to do something with potential.
Yeah.
I think.
What are you? Just I don't know.
Yeah, both the running backs are kind of good fill-ins if you have a bye week for Tampa Bay. Algier, like I said previously, another kind of bye week fill-in. And then auto starts are Drake London, Chris Godwin, Evans, Bijan. I do like Baker over Kirk if you need to kind of fill in a QB. But there are a lot of like borderline players to start here. So this is, at least for me, like I'm starting, I think, Bucky in the league with a Saquon team. I'm starting in another Saquon team, Algier. Like I have a good amount of not to say money, but I have a good amount of action on this game. So I am excited to see it. And there are a lot of deeper plays that you probably don't normally get on Thursday nights.
Yeah. We got 2 offenses that should be cooking. Thursday nights are sloppy, but let's go right into our next. This is the question that everybody wants answered. Jason, what are you doing? Should you drop Kyle Pitts for Kate Otten? How the mighty have fallen. Okay, fine. Don't drop him for him.
It makes no sense because Otten, he gets his every now and then, but it's just not often. Again, there's too much volatility in the tight end position. Don't get cute with it.
Okay, let's say this. Let's say you got Cade and Pitts on your roster. You start one tight end. Who are you starting tonight?
Tonight, I'm starting Otten.
Yeah.
I'm on the Otten train tonight, especially with those 2 aforementioned receivers out. That means you got to at least increase the looks for him, or at least see how. The other thing with the Falcons, they struggle rushing the passer. They have the 4th worst pass rush in the league right now. Baker, could have a lot of time to get the ball around and spread it around, and that could mean good things for Otten, especially once Baker gets kind of running and does the off schedule and off platform stuff. Could be a good night for him. But I wouldn't be afraid to start Otten tonight. But would I drop Kyle Pitts for him? No.
Okay, still believing, still praying at the gospel of Pitts. My favorite bet, I got Baker over rushing yards, 9.5, because he's been scooting and scampering.
What'd you get on that?
What odds?
I saw it at 15.5 last I checked, and I was even debating it.
15? No, 9.5 on FanDuel, baby. Sponsor us.
Get an alternate spread there, John?
Pardon?
Get an alternate lines there, John?
No. I bet, but it's minus 110, I think.
Right.
Real DGen would be Baker alt rushing lines. maybe that should be the name of our pod. Okay, we got a question here. Riggs, what up, Riggs? Looking to drop Hopkins. Wow, you do what you got to do. Mason Rudolph is not good. Would you suggest I go for staff? Oh, this is a great question. Sorry. Keon Coleman, Xavier Leggett, Josh Downs, Dontavian Wicks. I think let's probably roll. Downs is out. Leggett's probably out, right? So Coleman or Wicks?
I actually really like Josh Downs.
Over? Okay.
And the reason being, everybody forgets he was the number 2 in Indy last year. Like he had 770 yards and 2 tutties as a rookie. And the only reason he started out slow this year is because he had the high ankle sprain, and they worked him back in, week 1. But last week he had the full complement of action. He had 9 targets, He had a touchdown. He had a big fantasy day. He was a really solid player. I wouldn't hate having Downs, especially as a wide receiver 2 or a flex.
Okay, Downs is back in. Okay.
Downs is in.
Okay, I love Downs too. That's true. Yeah, started slow, looked good, but I think it's built in with Anthony. Like with Flacco, I'd like Downs. With Richardson, not so much. Bry?
I think if you need to start someone now, Wicks is the guy. If you need to start someone later, I would go Keon Coleman. I just think he's probably the highest potential here, especially with the Bills wide receiver room. There's no studs, so you have a chance of kind of getting the future stud on that team. And then with Watson out for probably 4 weeks or so, Wicks, now that I think Jaden Reed is the best, but then between Wicks, Watson, and Dobbs, they're all pretty similar. So if you have one less option, I think they're all going to eat and they're all going to be startable. So I like Wicks.
I like Wicks too. Yeah, but you probably want to basic short-term schedule. That's what I would look at. Packers.
Well, if you don't need to start any of them now, I would go Coleman.
But right, Rams. I think Rams are giving up the most yards for wide receivers. Right, Packers, Rams. You want short-term Bruce Wicks. Although
for the Bills at some point.
Sorry.
The Rams do have to play the Bills this year.
Okay. Okay, cool. That's a great question, guys. Love the questions. Keep them coming. Otherwise, we're just going to delve into some weird prop betting model stuff. All right. It's okay to laugh. Okay, cool. Considering the running back injuries as of late, as a Connor owner, James Conner, do I trade for Benson? Is he the clear cuff, or is it Amari? I don't know how to pronounce that. Amari DiMercato? DiMercato?
Yeah, Amari DiMercato is how you pronounce it.
Okay. Asking for Sutton for Benson. Thoughts on cuffs in general? I'll go first because I don't think Trey Benson's any good. They don't like him. He doesn't really run block, pass block. He seems a little clueless. He got some action last week in the blowout and actually looked okay. But I'd say it's probably 50-50 if he's the true handcuff or not.
I don't think there's any doubt right now. It's still DiMercato unless it's a blowout. Then Mercado elevates and Benson, backs up by the time it's time to, get Connor, a rest. So DiMercato right now is the clear backup.
Okay. Brian, and he's asking for Sutton, so he's going to trade Cortland Sutton to get Benson. I mean, I'd love to get rid of Cortland Sutton.
It doesn't seem worth it. I mean, I'm a big if you're leading the league, if you're one of the top 3 teams at the moment, it's kind of the only time I'm going to handcuff with players on my team. If you're at the end of the bench, or if you're at the end of the standings on the bottom, that's when I would try to handcuff other teams players. I don't know, pick up a Kenny Gainwell, pick up I started even thinking about the leagues I'm desperate in, picking up the 49ers back up to Mason, because just in case Mason goes down, then you have another stud, and they're obviously the 49ers just use kind of the one guy. So I would more go with the different cuff. I don't think if Connor does get hurt, most likely it's going to be a split between both of them, with DiMercato getting a lot more of the passing down work. So I think it might look like the Chiefs, which is ugly.
Yeah. So Brian doesn't believe in handcuffs, but he also drafted Christian McCaffrey, and you got Jordan Mason, right?
No.
Neither did I. So, but yeah, handcuffs are great but you really want if you get Bijan, you want the Algier handcuff, right? Connor's not quite great enough to need
remember the elite backs, the top tier backs.
Yeah.
The
and
guys.
It's got to be a clear handcuff, right? You don't want to, right? You don't want to have to guess, and then maybe he doesn't even get hurt, and yeah. Realistically, Benson will probably be on the wire at some point. So
I don't necessarily not like handcuffs. I just don't like it if you're at the bottom of the standings, because you need way more things to go well. If you're at the top of the standings, I think it's a very safe thing to do, because then you kind of guarantee that you have that production and you're not just going to fall down the standings. If you're at the bottom, you need all of your players to stay healthy and other people to get injured to actually move up. So that's kind of my mindset on it.
Couldn't you flip that though, where it's okay, you're desperate, you need, you take Gainwell because you need You're right. If Saquon gets hurt, and then you got Gainwell, it's like now all of a sudden you got like a top 20 running back for nothing.
Yeah, but like your team is already good, so you kind of want to keep that floor high, in my opinion.
That's true. That makes sense.
When your team's bad, you need to increase that ceiling.
Okay, cool. Okay, let's keep going here. We got Jamie 54 CB. Okay, cool. Who to start this week, Kyler or Baker? I love QB questions. So Kyler just shat the bed. Is anyone who bet Kyler 1.5 passing touchdowns? He had one in the first 2 minutes and then didn't get another one. It was peak bad Kyler. And we had best Baker. So right now they're like this, but realistically they're probably like this. Jason, what are you doing?
Well, since Call of Duty is still about 3 weeks away from being 3 or 4 weeks away from being released, I still honestly like Kyler. The Niners have some injuries on the defensive end, and they've really struggled defensively. Falcons have at least proven to be stingy, despite some of their underlying metrics not being great. They're kind of in the middle when it comes to defense at this point. They do force some turnovers. They do bend and don't break. The Niners, is great. Fred Warner's playing in another stratosphere right now, but still don't trust our secondary very much. Still don't trust most of our defensive line outside of Nick Bosa. And Kyler still is more mobile than Baker and can still run and use his legs. And Marvin Harrison Jr. could be a problem for us this weekend, so I still like Kyler.
Yeah, it's hurt. Ward's hurt too, right? Your top corner.
He's banged up, but he's playing. There's no injury. Okay. Fred Warner missed practice yesterday. He's going to be limited today, from what I've been reading, but I would still expect him out there on Sunday.
Okay, yeah. So Kyler's one of those guys you never want. As soon as you rely on him, he lets you down, and then when you try and fade him, that's when he screws you. Brian, what are you doing here, Kyler or Baker?
I got Baker at QB9. I got Kyler at QB10. It's pretty darn close for me.
Helpful.
I mean, the floor, I think, of Kyler is higher just because he's running more.
Didn't run last week.
Yeah. I also sometimes just like to have people in the Thursday game to watch. But then again, I also know Thursday games tend to kind of be a little more sloppy because there's less time to get ready for these games. So I guess despite the rankings, I think Kyler's a bit higher of a floor and ceiling. Okay. But kind of the median outcome, I do think, they're pretty much even, honestly.
Kyler, okay, yeah, you pretty much even will nudge Kyler. Jason? What do you like when you're thinking about situations like this? Do you want your QB against like a bad defense, they're going to put up points, or maybe like a really good team where they're going to be playing catch up?
There's a couple of different things I factor in. So yeah, personally, I look for the first thing is the matchup, and I usually look for a weaker defense, knowing that my quarterback can torch them. So even if they're going to be playing from ahead most of the night, they'll get most of their things done early, aka Josh Allen 2 weeks ago when he went for like 28 first half fantasy points, like something like that. Garbage time. I don't ever really think from that perspective. I tend to lean more towards teams that are going to be winning. But I also think of certain situations. What did this team do the week before? How much of the other team have I watched recently where like, oh yeah, this defense looks awful right now, or oh, this defense has been red hot. Maybe I want to stay away from that matchup. Right now looking at Kyler again, the Niners are my team, so I watch them on a weekly basis and can see what I've seen on the eye test. And right now the Niners, out of the last 3 weeks have defensively lapsed a lot. And he's actually had some good fantasy games against the Niners too.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. I just feel like they just bully him, but okay, great. Okay, Kyler.
They bully him and then they play from behind and
okay. Brian, here, I'll put you on the spot here. What are your top? Oh, we got a couple more questions, but quickly, what are your top 3 teams that you want your QBs to be going against so far this season?
Colts, Commanders, Rams.
Okay, that was quick. Jason?
I'm going to go Jaguars.
Nice.
Rams, and I'm also going to go Colts.
Colts? Okay. I'd probably throw the Lions in there, right? They're the kind of perfect team because I like a team with a good run D. so they're not going to be pounding it in. Also, the good offense, so it's going to be like a shootout, like the Geno situation.
Are we sure about that? Because I just saw Kenneth Walker run for a hat trick on Monday night.
He did. Okay, he broke the mold. Nobody runs in the Lions, but yeah, fair point. Okay, Matik. Yeah. All right, we got Cooper Kupp, Nico Collins. Oh my God, this is a monster. Cooper Kupp, Nico Collins, Jonathan Taylor. One superstar, two guys, one banged up, one really banged up. For CeeDee Lamb, CJ Stroud, and James Cook. Okay. He's got Anthony Richardson. So I guess he's giving up Stroud.
He's getting Stroud.
Getting Stroud and Cook.
Oh,
and CeeDee.
okay.
Since he's active on the chat, I do want to ask him who his other receivers are, because that's what I worry about.
Yeah.
Kupp and Nico are like auto starts for me at wide receiver. Obviously, Kupp's hurt at the moment. So
Back, he's still just going to get 10 to 12 targets a game and probably have at least 7 to 8 catches.
And also, what's your record, right? Can you afford Kupp? Are you if you're 1-3, you got to ship Kupp out 3-1, right? Stash him. But just as best player in the trade, what, CD, then Nico.
Nico at this point has been wide receiver 1.
Yeah, he is the man. This is just a bangerang. Yeah, okay. Amari Cooper would be wrong. Wide receiver 2, and he's got Nick Chubb on the IR.
I still think I like the Kupp, Nico, JT.
Yeah.
I mean, because to me, it's kind of like CD and Nico. Yeah, it's a slight. Like, Nico's been killing it, but it's a slight. I mean, Nico's better than CD at the moment, but moving forward, I'd probably lean to CD for the whole year.
Whatever. They're both at the mountaintop.
Yeah, JT and James Cook, I'm honestly pretty even on as well. I just think Bills have a better offense. They've been killing teams, so they're running more too. So that's a wash too. So then it's like, do I want Kupp or do I want Stroud? I tend to just like the top tier receiver over the QB, especially when you have worst case, he's an average starting QB for fantasy just because of rushing whenever he's healthy.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's why I would lean Kupp, Nico, JT.
Okay, yeah, but I will say record depending. 3-1 Kupp, right? 1-3, probably shipping them out.
I mean, why don't we get really smart here and just try to move for Stroud, and you have the Kupp and you have the Nico and Stroud stack.
Yes, do that. Yeah, just get the Stroud Nico stack, and then just take your W's every week. He's also got Tutu, but Tutu's my guy. Okay, we're going to keep moving. Because we got 13 minutes. We got a couple more questions to hit. I love you guys being active in the chat, too. Even when you ask a question, you give us more info. It is great. Oh, my God. I missed. Oh, we got to go fast. Sorry, guys. We got hooked on that blockbuster trade. I think we all went cross-eyed. All right, rock out. Bench Pitts for Parkinson, but could bite me. Oof. I mean, Pitts 0 catches last week. They're gonna look for him this week because they just don't want the headline. I missed his little Rams. Parkinson was great early, but has he done anything lately?
He's still getting targeted pretty well. I have Parkinson above him. Parkinson's kind of been I have Hawkinson in a lot of leagues, and Parkinson's just kind of been Parkinson and Taysom Hill have been my fill-in tight ends while I wait for Hawkinson to get back.
So, okay.
I like Parkinson in this one.
Jason? Rams playing the Packers.
Happens, when you do bench the guy with no catches the week before, it does bite you. So I actually say play Pitts.
I play Pitts too because I just think that he's not going 0 catches again. And you can definitely throw in the box. Antoine Winfield's out. Their secondary's not that good. I don't think they're going to put Levante David on him. But okay, so we're 2. One of us, me and Jason say play Pitts. Brian says math and play Parkinson. Okay. Paraco. What is it? Paraco. Oh, I got to stop doing that. All right. Just traded Ramondre Stevenson for Jalen Waddle. Wow. Good trade. My RBs are Kyron Williams, Josh Jacobs, and Jonathan Brooks on the IR about to come back. So do you guys see earlier they were talking, Jared Mayo was talking about maybe benching Ramondre for Antonio Gibson and Waddle. And then Waddle is gonna do nothing because Tyler Huntley's not any good. Okay, Jason, yeah, hit me first. What are you doing? Ramondre for Waddle, good trade?
I mean, at this point, the early returns are it's a wash. Ramondre has got fumbleitis at this point. It's become a problem. He's fumbled 3 straight games. So that's an issue. Waddle has no quarterback. That's also an issue. But he did get targeted late and did get some short catches, which could be more beneficial for him down the road. So I think long term, this is actually a good play, especially when you have the running backs that you have. You don't even really need Ramondre. So you could play those 3 every week, especially once Jonathan Brooks comes back.
Yeah, I would tend to agree with it. It's especially because you have enough running backs. Like if I were the Waddle team owner, like if I'm the other side of that trade and I don't have any running backs, but I have a bunch of receivers, I still kind of like it for them too. It's pretty even. It's a good swap of you're pretty heavy on running backs, especially if you need the help on wide receiver. I think it could be a good trade for everyone, which these are the kind of trades I like to make because, yeah, they both are kind of in crappy situations at the moment, but they can easily improve if QB situations improve for both teams.
Yeah, I think you're trading 2 toxic assets, but I think, long-term Pats aren't going to be in games, so they're going to be playing Gibson more, playing catch-up. And then Waddle, if Tua comes back, Waddle's back to a stud. So, yeah, I like that trade. Okay, I got a key. What do we here? So it's Blockbuster, Mark Cooper. All right, Jordan. Do I trade Devontae and Braylon for Najee and JSN? Wow, I don't think you do. I got good wide receiver depth, but mediocre running back depth, and I need to win this week. Oh, these are the best. You are desperate, paying for the win. What are we thinking, Brian? Najee and JSN. Najee. I think he looked good last week because Warren's still out.
He got more snaps in the passing game than I expected last week. I actually blurred that game. Cordell Patterson was way more effective in the running game, which was surprising. Like Najee was like 11 carries for 14 yards, something like that.
Oh, but receiving, he had like 46 receiving yards, right?
Yeah, but he had one 35-yard catch, which kind of at the end of the game, which kind of carried his whole matchup. So I don't really like this. I understand with Devontae I'd be very, very surprised if Devontae played this week. He has a hamstring injury that is probably just, I don't want to be here anymore. So you're giving up a lot of upside, and wherever Devontae ends up for a very mediocre RB, like low-end RB2. And JSN's fine. Like he's still splitting. I think he's overtaken Lockett for the wide receiver 2 in that offense, but like this week, he does have a good matchup. I just don't know if I'd be giving up Devontae that easy.
He also said his team is half dead. I love. Oh yeah, jump in, Jason.
I actually don't mind this trade at all because again, Devontae's going to miss Sunday's game from what it sounds like with the hamstring issue and the trade talks. So they're going to want to preserve his value. The Jets were too scared to use Braylon Allen at the goal line for whatever reason. I mean, I'm a Breece Hall owner. I'm still wondering why the Jets did not use him at the goal line. Why they didn't use Braylon Allen at the goal line on Sunday when Breece couldn't run the ball to save his life on Sunday morning. JSN's having a good year. He's getting targeted a fair amount. He's getting about 8 to 10 targets a game right now. He had 8 catches, I believe, for 51 yards the other night. And Najee Harris, despite the slow start, they've been going against some really good run defenses. That schedule is getting a lot lighter the next few weeks where they're going against a lot of weaker run defenses. They have a matchup at home against the Cowboys on Sunday, and you can run the ball fairly easily against that team at the moment. And they're going to be missing probably Micah Parsons and DeMarcus Lawrence. So that could be a big night for him.
I low-key love this trade because you're desperate. You need a win, right? You're getting JSN. They're playing the Giants. Najee, boys. You're probably going to get big games. But it's all about Devontae. If he gets traded to the Chiefs, you're screwed. You lose the trade, and you quit fantasy football. If he gets traded to the Jets, whatever. You're probably going to be fine. So,
just for notes, I have JSN as my wide receiver 12 overall this week. Like, that's a very good matchup for Seattle. So, if that helps you at all for just this week, I do think he's a pretty solid play this week.
Yeah, you know what? I pull the trigger, worry about it later, right? The goal is to make the playoffs, not be the best team that doesn't make it. Okay. So we only got a few minutes left. I got a lot of questions. We got to go power through. Sorry, guys, this is my fault. Kyler's been up and down. I felt like last week was letdown. It was the biggest letdown in history. The Commanders' worst defense on the road. I don't know what happened. It was very, very, very sad.
Jaden Daniels.
Yeah, that's fine. But why did the Commanders D? They were all over him. Jamie, so Jamie's 1-3 under Kyler. Okay. Jordan, I got Kyler too. I'm sticking with him. Okay, stick with him, little Kyler. But yeah, he will ball out.
Okay. Call of Duty doesn't come out until October 26th, I believe. So that's your trade deadline for him.
Okay, Jamieson, ride or die with Kyler Murray. Just hope McBride. Yeah, that's true. I think McBride's practicing. I'd say he's probably going to play. Concussion usually only 1 week unless it's truly bad. Most of these guys just okay. Here we go. All right, Jordan Stenmark. Who would you package Chubb and JMO for? Okay, Chubb just got active in practice window, right? He's probably going to be back. I'd say maybe week 7, maybe week 6, week 8 at the latest. James Williams just caught that 70-yard touchdown. He's blown up. Suck it, Brian. I told you. Told you a year ago.
You told me last year when he sucked.
Yeah, well, true. I have Kamara, Mason, Henry, Justice Hill, Rico Daddle. Receivers, I have AJ, Higgins, Tutu. Okay, so we want Chubb and JMO. We're probably going to trade a running back and a wide receiver. I mean, Mason for Chubb, you can't do that right now, right?
Well, no, he's saying who he has, and he's wondering who we should package Chubb and JMO for.
Right. I got to get
that. I just want to know how he's going to have so much depth.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of like, depending on your record, going for Cooper Kupp with this, because then you pretty much guarantee you have 3 startable receivers until Kupp comes back, because I think Tutu can be startable as a wide receiver 3 or flex option. I love your running back depth. I think Justice Hill is super underrated and has been very valuable in the passing game, and just like he's giving me old James White vibes where it's like whether it's Yahoo or ESPN is projecting him at like 8 points and he ends up with like 12 or 13. Like, I just think he's a solid, safe flex play or wide receiver or running back 2-3.
And when you started with Henry, right, you get that nice package, right? So it's
you have Kamara and Mason, who Kamara might be RB1 now, and then Jordan Mason's just going to be a stud until maybe if CMC comes back. So I like getting the upside of Kupp later on, and maybe the person will take it. It's kind of a IR for IR, but your IR is coming back for earlier, and then JMO, who knows if he's going to keep it up, but he's going to be a big boomer bust guy all year.
Great sell high guy, though. Yeah, I would. We don't know if he can stay healthy the whole season, but yeah, Jason, this is a big one.
I actually agree and would do this for Cooper Kupp myself. You have 3 startable running backs every week. I mean, you have 3 RB1s that you're never going to have out of your lineup, so you're really only starting 2 receivers. You have AJ Brown already. He'll be back in week 6. Practice, the Friday before their game against the Bucs. Now they have a bye, so clearly is on track to be back, and then you have him for the rest of the season. And then once you get Kupp back, man, you're in business. You just make sure
business is booming.
You don't need much from the other supplementary parts of your roster. I mean, those guys right there are, you have 5, 20 to 30, 15 to 30 point guys every week.
Okay, guys, we're only going to go a couple more minutes. If I don't get to your question, you don't get it in, you can fire over to our Discord. You can go to Twitter. We are on everything. But so make sure, right? Week 5. Everyone's got to win week 5. Okay, we got T-Money. What up, T-Money? This is a long one. 10-man PPR. Joe Burrow, Josh Jacobs, James Conner, CD Lamb, Jamar Chase, Dalton Kincaid, DK. Okay, I'm not going to read everybody. He's full team. He's 2-2. That's the important part. Should I trade Connor and DK for Gibbs and Devontae Smith? The dude is 1-3. This is almost too much info, but this is great. Give us all the info. But let's try and summarize it. So okay.
So I can summarize it. Basically, he has Connor and DK. They're playing this week. He's 2-2. He wants to trade for Gibbs and Devontae Smith, who are both on bye this week, on a 1-3 team. 1-3 team needs the win now, so that's why he's willing to do it. I think if this would work, I would do it in a heartbeat. I think worst case, you lose this week, but then you have Gibbs and Smith, who are both done with their bye and are auto starts from here on out. and they're young, and they're just going to keep getting involved. Yeah, Smith had a concussion, but now he's 2 weeks out, so he should be back.
So he's only 2-2. So you're going to risk 2 and 3 just to have a super team.
In a heartbeat.
Okay, heartbeat. Okay, heartbeat. Jason.
The only reason I say no to this, and I mostly agree here, Brian, like Connor, is high-end RB2, RB1 territory. Gibbs is, RB1 at this point. Giving up a wide receiver 1 in DK is tough for me. He's getting target. He is getting fed so much right now by Geno. It's hard to get away from that.
I think the target numbers are pretty similar with Devonta.
But also AJ Brown's been missing for 3 weeks. He comes back. What happens?
That's true. That's a good point.
What happens is Hurts hates throwing to anyone other than Smith, Goddard, Brown, and Barkley. It is difficult. It feels like he's pulling strings, throwing it to anyone else. So I still think you get at least a 25% target share with Smith. And DK, Geno has spread it out in the past, and DK still has JSN and JSN and Lockett. So I think it's closer to a wash. Maybe you have DK a bit better, but I think Gibbs has been killing it. Both Gibbs and Montgomery have been 14 points, and I just kind of trust that more.
Okay, cool, man. Yeah, that was a banger trade, but you got us at the end of the pod. Otherwise, we could dive in more. But maybe fire over to Discord. Someone will give you an in-depth. They'll break it down. Okay, we've got an hour. We're going to wrap up here. We got Thursday night game. So let's favorite props. We already went over it, but we'll just do a quick review. Jason, I don't think you've given us a loser yet this season.
No, I only miss on the spreads.
Who bets spreads?
I miss the spreads. I hit the props. That's how we've gone so far.
This is Prop City. So your best bet was?
Bijan Robinson over 26.5 receiving yards, -128. Bucky Irving anytime TUD, +180.
Okay, yeah. I think, what did I read? I think the Bucks play, they give up the check down pass more than any team. So I think that was good for Algier. And then Brian, you're going to go some weird zag with the Rachaad White.
I just like Rachaad White over receptions and over yards. I think I had him at 19.5 and 3.5 receptions. You can split it up. You can do it together. I'd probably split it up just so you don't lose all your money. But I like the zag because I still think he's the built-in passing down guy.
Yeah, it's ugly. Every Thursday, Brian comes in here, tells us something, and we tell him he's stupid and it's dumb. And then every day on Friday, he messages us saying he was right. So you want to be right? Yeah, you want to look smart or be right? Either way. So Rachaad White, me, I'm on Baker rushing yards 9.5. They said it's 15.5. I only bet it 2 hours ago, so I got to double check. Maybe I screwed up, but I usually don't. Although sometimes I do. But that's it for everyone today. The Fantasy NFL Today show. This might be the last week with this name until we think of something cooler. Thank you, everyone, for all the questions. This is great. It helps it fly by. We love helping out, and we love all the trade proposals. Keep giving us all the info. Any last words? Okay, we're good. All right. We'll see you guys Sunday, 10:30 with Jacob and Anthony. Hopefully, we're all going to be there. And until next time, cheers.